Don't want no shackles. Don't want no shackles on me.
You don't want no shackles on you, huh, Bob? How about I break your legs? That'll teach you. The shackles is called government. We run the big central banks and the brokerage houses. We're going to take your money. If we don't like it, your wife and kids are dead. The SWAT teams work for us now. And, of course, down in the South, they got the boss hogs. That's right. We run this county and this state. We're going to take anything we want. Again, it's time for the American people to stand up against this tyranny. So Blagojevich, he was just standard operating procedure. Go on, listen, Mac, I'm going to need some money for these appointments. You understand how it works here? Chicago Tribune, prosecutors want gag order on Blagojevich. Defense lawyers. Federal prosecutors are seeking a gag order to keep ex-Governor Rod Blagojevich and his lawyers from making public comments saying Blagojevich has attempted to manipulate media coverage to gain favorable attention and influence the jury in his corruption case. And they're blocking him from bringing out all the tapes, which, of course, implicate the establishment. Here's another one. Another headline. Blago defense tries to link kickback to Obama contribution. That's out of the Chicago Tribune as well. No, the Chicago machine? I mean, it's come out that Rezko and others paid for his house in Chicago, half price. Oh, you want $1 million house for $400,000? It's yours, pal. We're only sucking it off the little people. There's plenty of money to go around for you, a good CIA officer, a community organizer with the Ford Foundation, with the Rockefellers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to go to your phone calls because you notice I just spent the last segment, part of this segment, on one story. And here's the type of headlines I have. Prosecutors want gag order on Blagojevich. Meanwhile, a woman pleads guilty to accessing Obama student loan records. Oh, yeah, they're watching those like a hawk. You try to find out about Barry Soetoro, and that's what his name is in the records, you're going to prison. Oh, you release footage of our troops massacring people? You're going to prison. You try to expose corruption? You're going to prison. You report a government crime that's been committed, you go to prison. Meanwhile, there's all these new big cash bonuses for turning in your neighbors for petty supposed crimes, tattling on your neighbors, lying about your neighbors. The feds are in there training the general public how to be informants, how to lie on the stand, because there's a lot of cash, a lot of money, a lot of power robbing and stealing. So what if society collapses? Tea Party group calls on sponsors to drop hardball. Well, I mean, the sponsors aren't going to drop. I mean, it's all defense contractors, drug companies, and others. They know they don't get a response being on MSNBC with 500,000 viewers on their top shows. They understand that. You know, what's an ad on MSNBC? $20,000 for 60 seconds. Meanwhile, you could go buy that ad for, say, $1,000 on something like Coast to Coast AM and reach 3 million people in a 15-minute listening time. On average, about 3 million tuned in any 15-minute segment, about 9 to 10 million, depending on the week, tuning in a night. 16 million a week overall or more. But no, you'd rather spend $20,000 on MSNBC with 500,000 watching. See, it's all a scam. Oh, you want 3 lines in a newspaper. We've run ads in the Statesman and gotten 0 response. 0. For a part-time nanny, for a part-time housekeeper to come once a week, you know, clean the house. No response. 0. 0. We've run ads in the Statesman for people to have job applicants for this office. 2 or 3 phone calls. Can't speak English, because I guess the illegal aliens aren't online or something, or as many of them aren't. You put an ad in Craigslist for a nanny, Hundreds of responses. You put an ad in Craigslist for somebody to work in /radio, TV, hundreds of responses. Incredibly qualified. Craigslist is free. The Statesman for 2 lines is $300. It's all a fraud, all a hoax, all a scam. MSNBC's a scam. The Austin American Statesman's a scam. It's a joke. It's a fraud. It's a laughing matter. $200 to advertise on my radio show for an ad. $200. For the amount of people you reach, the way the market is, you should be paying about $5,000. Conservatively, 500,000 people listening every 15 minutes. That's conservatively. Just on AM and FM. We have more listeners every 15 minutes than Chris Matthews' entire show. We're 200. He's 20,000. Again, I'm already digressing. That's what I mean. Everything is a fraud. Everything is a scam. It's a giant, propped up, rotten illusion. And if you just get your hackles up, if you just get your hair up, if you get angry, if you get fired up and never stop and realize you're committed and you're not going to stop exposing the New World Order and you're not going to stop supporting alternative media and you're not going to stop pointing your finger at the government saying you're a bunch of lawless New York crime machine, Chicago crime machine. That's who took over, the New York crime machine and Chicago crime machine. You know who invented controlling local city governments and having governments invest money in fake schemes? Al Capone did 80-plus years ago. He would go down and hang out with the Rockefeller family in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and gamble for months and have sex with 2-3 hookers a day. That's on record. Al Capone worked with the Rockefellers. They would hang out in Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's all on record. And they invented having Chicago 80 years ago plus invest your tax money in fake schemes. Now, they took that model in the 40s and created the comprehensive annual financial reports. It's mafia. Our government is run by mafia. And they run the CIA. They run the FBI. DynCorp runs the child kidnapping rings on record. No one stops them. They don't get in trouble. It's just a totally lawless group of criminals that ship in all the drugs they want. They murder whoever they want. They run insurance scams in every major city, taking insurance out on people and murdering them. They have hit teams on the police departments that carry out the murders. It is just a completely rotten group. And they've decided to go ahead and implode the economy fully and take all your pension funds and rob everything. Because why should you, a schmuck in their eyes, why should you, a chump, a sucker, an ignoramus fool, be allowed to have anything? Because you see a government official, a government uniform, you fall down on your face and start worshiping them. Why shouldn't they take everything you've got? I knew this over a decade ago. Local lawyers told me this off record that work in the city. But since then, in the last 6 months, it's been in mainstream news, become a big scandal, that Walmart takes $2-3 million out on these greeters. Now, at least they don't kill them like the local hit teams do in every city. Oh, yeah, they take it out on your grandma. She never knows there was $1 million on her. They kill her. They love old people. It's their favorite because they'll just sneak in, poison their food. They'll have a heart attack, and then they get the cash that way. Nobody suspects, and they control the coroner. Oh, yeah, this is folks, this is a murder team you're talking. You want the whole truth. You want to know how this whole thing works? Well, going back to Walmart, they take $2-3 million out. They've got actuaries. They know that 79-year-old who's had double bypasses statistically is going to die at a certain point. They take out the insurance on them. Through the insurance pooling deal, they've got deals with the insiders with kickbacks inside the insurance companies. They know they're going to get $2-3 million. It's going to pay out every year, and that's why they stick those near-death people up there at the fronts of the things greeting you. It's nothing but betting on the craps tables, and you love it. They know when the cancer virus's RNA they've implanted in you are going to kick in and activate. They know when you're going to be sterilized. By the way, I oversimplify things. I was talking last week about how the estrogen-mimicking hormones, this is now, again, all over the news. They've known it from day one. Thousands of different combinations of plastic. And worldwide, in the 50s, they standardized and had tax breaks, you name it, if certain types of plastic were adopted as liners in cans, liners in food containers, now it's in juice box containers, water containers, that leaches estrogen mimickers into it that are also carcinogenic. So you wonder why 5-year-old girls are now going into puberty. It used to be amazing when the 8-year-olds were. Now it's 5-year-olds. You wonder why the females are hyper feminine and the men are becoming effeminate. And I pointed out that that's why homosexuality is way up. And I got emails saying the Romans were homosexual, the Greeks were. Yes, I know that. I understand that that goes on previously in history. I'm not saying there aren't people that have that sexual preference. I'm saying it's increased chemically.